Good afternoon, Excellencies and distinguished guests. A very warm welcome to all of you for joining today's global dialogue at the Center for China and Globalization, CCG, recognized globally as China's leading international think tank. Before opening our proceedings, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Huiyao Wang, founder and president of CCG, and the former counselor to China's State Council, and the distinguished professor at the China Foreign Affairs University to kick off the dialogue and exchange. The floor is yours.
Respectfully, Minister Gordan Radman, distinguished excellencies, guests, ladies and gentlemen. So good afternoon. Thank you for all being here today. And it is our great honor to welcome His Excellency Minister Gordan Grlić Radman, coming from Croatia, a beautiful country that I have been to 2 years ago. I mean, I can tell you that Croatia is such a fabulous place. I was at Dubrovnik, attending the Dubrovnik Forum, and I see the endless coast, and it was said that Marco Polo was from there. So I was really impressed this beautiful country. So this year marks the 50th anniversary of China-EU relations, and of course we all know that we're going to have an upcoming the day after tomorrow, as a matter of fact, the China-EU summit. So today's dialogue carries a particular significance, and we see that Minister Radman came here and actually leading this focused attention of China-EU relations. So at this important juncture, so today's exchanges are so important and relevant and highly timely, and will contribute very significant and meaningful promoting of the mutual understanding and, of course, cooperation. So, as my colleague Mr. Zhang just said, CCG is a globally recognized think tank that we ranked the top 100 think tank in the world a number of times, and also we held a special consultant status by the United Nations, the only think tank in this category in China. And also we have exchanged globally and to many places, including Croatia. So today actually we are very happy and then to kick off this global dialogue. You know, CCG Global Dialogue has been a brand name in the Chinese think tank. Even global think tank arena, we have a dialogue with over 100 global opinion leaders and thought thinkers, and of course politicians and officials. Just for the last year, for example, among our distinguished guests, we have been hosting Her Excellency Ms. Tadja Fajon, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs from Slovenia. We have also hosted His Excellency Haki Fidan, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, and we have hosted His Excellency Paulo Rangel, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Portugal, and we have also hosted His Excellency Jeppe Kofod, former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Denmark. Just to give you example, for the last year we have many visits here. So those visits have provided invaluable opportunities for hosting deeper mutual understanding and also enhance the exchanges between China, of course, and all the countries that we have been really engaged with. So before we start to hear Minister important keynote speech, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the special guests and the VIP guests we have invited today. So today we have invited the diplomats from 20 countries with the help of Croatia ambassador, His Excellency, and so I just want briefly mention them. They are ambassador from Albania, ambassador from Croatia, as I said, ambassador from Cyprus, ambassador of Estonia, ambassador of Iceland, ambassador of Latvia, ambassador of the Netherlands, ambassador of North Macedonia, ambassador of Norway, ambassador of Portugal, ambassador of Slovak, and ambassador of Spain. So very, very impressive list of distinguished guests. Not only that, we have also representatives from various embassies, including embassy from Bosnia and Herzegovina, embassy of Germany, embassy of Malta, embassy of Poland, embassy of Serbia, and embassy of Slovenia, embassy of Turkey, and embassy of United Kingdom. So you can see, we got probably, a large number of Beijing diplomatic corps here to hear minister's speech. But also we have invited distinguished guests from former officials from Minister of Foreign Affairs, former official from Minister of Commerce, Beijing University of Foreign Studies, global think tank community, and of course, global young leaders, and also many other people. And also, furthermore, we have, of course, we have a full house. We have, almost 70, 80 people here, but we have also invited, well-known media in China. We have media from Xinhua News Agency, Global Times, Douyin, China.org, Caijin, Phoenix Television, People's Daily, Beijing Daily, China Radio International, China Daily, Economy Daily, CGTN, Caixin. The name goes on. So I really would like to say that this is really a great event, that we're having so many participants for this gathering today at the CCG. As we all know, since they established diplomatic ties in 1992, China and Croatia have consistently upheld mutual respect, equality, and mutually beneficial cooperation. In 2005, the two countries elevated their relationship to a comprehensive partnership. And in recent years, the political trust through multiple summits and bilateral meetings has really further enhanced that. Last year was marked the 20 years anniversary of our comprehensive partnership. Cooperation between China and Croatia has steadily expanded across trade, technology, and the cultural field. So it's a great time to reflect that. And also last year, the bilateral trade reached almost $3 billion US dollars, and almost 17% increase on year. So the two sides established mechanisms such as Economic Joint Committee and Science and Technology Cooperation Committee, and have signed multiple agreements to align Belt and Road Initiative and also with Croatia development objectives. So I know that Minister had a great productive meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi yesterday, and also Foreign Minister Wang Yi emphasized the Croatia historical role as an important stop on an Asian Silk Road. So we certainly find that is really relevant, important. And also he highlighted the 20 years anniversary of a comprehensive partnership offers an opportunity to advance bilateral relations to a new level and strengthen multilateral exchanges and multi-cooperation and promote stable and healthy China-EU relations. So I would stop my opening remarks here, but now I would like to introduce formally our keynote speaker that we have really fortunate to have invited today. So His Excellency Gordan Grlić Radman is a Croatian Minister of Foreign and European Affairs, a seasoned diplomat with a distinguished academic and diplomatic background. He earned his PhD from University of Zagreb as Faculty of Political Science, focused on neutrality and evolving European security architecture. So really, he has a far sight and has focused such an issue a long time ago. And also, since 2019, he has served as a Croatian foreign minister and has previously held ambassador posts in Germany and Hungary. And also he has led the Central European Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and European Integration, and also served as the Secretary General of the State Ministry, Minister of Foreign Affairs. So a lot of important posts. And with also extensive early experience in Bulgaria and Switzerland. He has also made significant contributions to multinational organizations, including his tenure as a president for Danube Commission. Danube, sorry about that. Yeah, so it's a very important post he has, and So I bump into Minister Radman quite often. January we were in Davos, February we were at the Munich Security Conference. So it's great I can to welcome you personally at CCG, also together with so many ambassadors, distinguished guests, and also our media friends. So without further ado, let's welcome Minister Radman give us a speech.
Thank you, dear Henry, if I may so say, after so many encounters and around the world. And you mentioned that, so last we met, it was in Munich, during the Munich Security Conference, and just a month before, and in January in Davos, and so you visited also Croatia, and you took part at Dubrovnik Forum at one panel, and together with Mabel, and we are missing her, however, and thank you so much for this invitation. And so I see also my colleagues and ambassadors here, excellencies, whom I work with, and first of all, if I may mention that my colleague from Slovak Republic, Peter Lisak, and we spent excellent 4 years. Actually, not me 4 years, but so it came call, from the Prime Minister. But so he then helped me, and just during the preparation and for the EU presidency in the first half of 2020. But of course, also the ambassador of Albania, Riza Poda, who also came and to Croatia, but he, and after an accomplishment his tenure, 4 years, he left the country, and I stayed. I am still there, and after the Peter Sijarto, who is the longest serving and foreign minister of the European Union, I am really honored to be on the second place. So. So, and I prepared my speech intervention, however, but so we will see, and probably it's better to do with a Q&A, with a concrete and a dialogue. It's more better to have an interactive discussion. But first of all, I must, and I will, and I want to express really my deepest impression being in Beijing, in your beautiful country with its magnificent culture and history, and for the second time with my wife. She's also here, not only an ambassadors and my distinguished colleagues and from the foreign ministry, and of course my colleague and friend, ambassador to Beijing, Dario Michelin. Thank you also that you work together, and thank you that so you establish good connections and communication with all the ambassadors here. I am really privileged to be in front of you and to address you and some important topics regarding the, first of all, Croatia, and you, as you mentioned, so Henry, I still vividly and remember by the 2023 and the Dubrovnik Forum, but so this year we had really, and it was the best 18th edition of Dubrovnik Forum, and visiting by so many think tanks, foreign ministers, representative of international organization, and so on. And so you were until 2 years ago, you are as a founder and president of CCG, and thank you very much for participating at our Dubrovnik Forum, and in this very engaging discussion. And also this year we had an also special representative for an Chinese special representative, Mr. Lu Shai, also in a panel of shifting global trade dynamics. This is my actually first official visit to China, but my second because I was here 14 years ago privately with my family, and it's really honor and so privilege to be as a foreign minister here, and to see my counterpart and Mr. Wang Yi, and and we had a fruitful discussion on some very important, first of all, bilateral, economic, political, and other topics of other common interest. I am really deeply honored and grateful for the opportunity and to exchange views with you on topics of great importance. I see that it's most the ambassadors of the European Union of our region, the region European Union, the region organization, the organization and of values we share, Croatia share with, first of all, the rule of law, fundamentals, and freedom, human rights, and so on. And Croatia is very, very honored and, of course, happy to be a member of the European Union. At the beginning, I'd like also to dedicate a few words to Croatia's journey to independence, just in a nutshell, and that then outline the core pillars of Croatia's foreign policy and finally explore our vision for deepening our cooperation with China. Although I'm sure that you are very briefed by our ambassador here, Dario Michelin. Croatia independence started in 1991 after the brutal aggression and our freedom and sovereignty independency was forged in homeland war. However, our dependency and proclamation of independency and came by European Union at that time. So since 15 January 1992, Croatia is an independent, recognized sovereign country. We firstly declared our independence in 1992. Our path to where we are today has not been straightforward or easy. We progressed from a country in the war to an exporter of peace and stability. So we are object, now we are subject. It is 34 years just in a flight, and it's we can assess that in these 3 decades we gained our great achievements. First of all, membership in NATO, then European Union. And now what remains after the Croatia is full integrated in the European Union, having in mind that as of 1st January 2023 we entered the Schengen zone and we introduced Euro as a national currency. Just remains what remains it is OECD membership, but we are on the way to fulfill all our criteria, what's necessary for a member of OECD as of spring, as of first half of 2026. You mentioned also the Danube region. Danube region is a part of Croatia belongs to. Croatia was occupied, but however we struggled, we fought for our independence and the peaceful integration of the also Croatian Danube region in 1998, and then Croatia was completely liberated from rebels and from aggressor. However, now Croatia, as a member of those integration, would like to have good relations with Western Balkans countries and to establish and to promote regional stability. It's in our national interest, and it is the reason why Croatia understands very much the situation in Ukraine. Ukraine is the same scenario. Croatia respect international law, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and when it comes to the Ukraine, we Croatia has been with Ukraine since day one, and Croatia will be with Ukraine also in future. Croatia provided a comprehensive aid to Ukraine, be it in financially, politically, diplomatically, and of course also military. But first of all, what is in Croatia? Where is Croatia well experienced? It's the humanitarian demining, and we offered our expertise and our experience. From day one of the Russian invasion, we saw it through the lens of our own defensive war against the Yugoslav People's Army and neighborly aggression in the 90s. But it was ended almost 30 years ago, but memories are still very much alive. The human and economic toll of the aggression was catastrophic for the country of our size. More than 20,000 killed or missing, more than 20% of our economy destroyed, not to mention the damaged infrastructure or mine contaminated areas which take years to clear. So when Russia attacked Ukraine, we stood resolutely with Ukraine, as we didn't want Ukraine to face the same fate as us while defending itself for a much stronger adversary. That is why we immediately offered them our own support, as I mentioned, both political and material, and we strongly backed all similar diplomatic efforts. I mentioned that it was also demining and veteran care, prosecution of war criminals, as well and other war-related issues. And Croatia is about to organize also the international conference on psychosocial assistance and veterans in October this year, as we did also the last year International Donor Conference, and 2 years ago the first parliamentary on the Crimea platform, and so on. So many conferences. Also during the Dubrovnik Forum, also I organized together with Andriy Sabiha, the Ukrainian foreign minister, also conference with our neighbors, Western Balkans foreign ministers. There were all 6, or their deputies, and some also with the ministries for foreign affairs surrounding countries. They are members of the EU or NATO. Croatia's foreign policy goals today center around bilateral cooperation and economic diplomacy, European integration, cooperation, regional stability and security, global engagement and multilateralism, protecting Croatian citizens and Croatian minority abroad. We are very proud, we Croatians likes to travel, so from centuries. So you can find Croatians everywhere, or second, third, fourth generation. Being in Australia, there is about 250,000 Australians of Croatian origins, or 100 New Zealand, on the US almost 1 million, or Canada 400,000, and even in Latin America there is also almost everywhere, be it in Argentina, Chile, Peru, Brazil, and so on, also almost 1 million. And of course the large Croatian diaspora is in Germany. Why? Because of a free movement. There is advantage and there is disadvantage. They just Croatians they choose this value to work and to travel where they want. However, but as a country of just 4 million inhabitants, we are not happy that so the Croatians are leaving. But however, they are also coming back after 2 or 3 years. There is a fate of every country in the European Union, for a small country, and not only Croatia, but first of all Eastern and Middle European countries. Um, as I mentioned, the next strategic milestone in for us solidifying Croatia's international position remains the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, membership, and it is not because just okay to be a member of OECD. It's because of our citizens, because of our reforms. It's because of the implementing the smart policies and practices from the OECD. It's great, and it offers a good opportunity to invest. The climate investments changed. That means that it's really added value. At home and abroad, our policies are guided by four overarching priorities: digital transformation, demographic revitalization, as I mentioned, it's the most important topic right now, decarbonization, and education. As you see, also in all European countries, I can say that so we have almost the same the goals. These goals drive our growth while ensuring sustainability and resilience. And Croatia's also investments like the LNG terminal on the island Krk are now adding to strategic autonomy through energy diversification. We are open towards technology-friendly environment and see as seen in the development of one of the fastest electric cars in the world. But we can also do just during the Q&A also to speak on that even much more. I can fill you on some more details regarding the energy diversification, because it's very important issue today's. The phasing out the dependency on third countries remains crucial, not only for Croatia but for the European Union in general. So when it comes to mentioned famous Marco Polo, born on the Croatian island of Korčula, but first of all, Central and Mediterranean alliance with the historic Silk Road. It's not by accident so that they came. So that you mentioned that. Thank you so much. But to be honest, and I want to say that it was at that time part of the Venice Republic, and making today's Croatia and Italy to share his legacy, like the Mozart Kugels between Germany and Austria. It's good to say that. Okay, yes, we don't want to say it's only Croatian, it's only Italian, and it's really generous if you just to share it with your neighbors and with your partners, with your friends. Who knows how was it 400 years ago? But we are very proud that he was of Croatian origin. However, throughout the history, the Mediterranean, Croatia is a small country, but so we have, as we had in Osaka. I visited so many your pavilions there, and it's all of the ambassadors are here, and there is symbolic signs of 5 climate micro-region, and it's visible it's innovative in Croatian pavilion. We are a small country, but so we are Mediterranean, we are Middle European, Danube, Eastern European. However, it's in a small country. You can see everything what you want. Just if you start driving from Zagreb to Split, it's Split is the second biggest city in Croatia, but on the coast, Mediterranean. You can change at least 3 microclimates. So the Lika, it's in the mountains, like in the Alpe in Switzerland or in Austria. But we are very proud that so we are a small country, but so with different tempers and also of the peoples there. It's also the history. But expanding horizon, Croatia and Asia. So we are here also because I had really an fruitful discussion with my colleague yesterday. And though geographically distant today, but as you see that it was not far for Marco Polo 400 years ago, Croatia understands the profound dynamism of the Asia and Indo-Pacific region. As conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East continue, Central Asia remains a focal point of interest among major global players seeking both bilateral and regional cooperation with the nations of the region. Our relations with Asia are shaped by historical migrations, modern diplomacy, and growing economic ties. China was one of the key partners for our strategic projects. The Pelješac Bridge. Pelješac Bridge connected the North Croatia with South Croatia. Croatia also engaged with Southeast Asian nations, Republic of Korea, Japan, India, and Mongolia. So in general, Indo-Pacific area that I visited, Mongolia I visited also at the beginning of this Asian trip. Several factors drive this engagement. First, strategic connectivity between Asia and Europe by the development of the Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor, the so-called Middle Corridor. Second, abundant energy and natural resources. Third, expanding markets. And fourth, the overarching priority of global security. Croatia's cooperation with the Asian states has intensified over the past 2 years. We have seen strengthening of bilateral activities and a series of high-level political engagements on the margins of major multilateral forums. In bilateral cooperation, we seek to enhance economic and diplomatic ties, foster scientific cooperation, exchange expertise, and promote people-to-people interaction while fostering inter-region dialogue and understanding. Of course, we embrace the Asia's diversity and observe the needs and interests of our partners while showing the sensitivity of their political, economic, and cultural specificities. So we are a small country. So there people could say they are small countries, they are big countries, and so on. But I am someone who remember it was the finance minister. I like this in the sentence, and it came from I think so Danish foreign minister 2016 and so on. And he said, so look, my dear friends, there are two profiles or two types of small countries. There's small countries, and there are small countries who are not aware that they are so small. That means that so we rely on each other. Small and great or big, it's just in our heads. We are not small in this regard. When it comes to our dedication to the peace, to the respecting of international law, to run, when it comes to our pursuing our European values, so we are great. We are just only small in the size, and I think so. We should stick together when it comes to multilateralism. When it comes to the solidarity, just look at the Ukraine. So helping, assisting Ukraine is not only just an act of solidarity. We in the European Union, so we see that it is an investment in European security and of course international order based on rules. So bilateral relations with China are excellent, expanding, and it could be even more. Just we discussed it yesterday, and there is a planned, of course, upcoming visit of my prime minister by the end of the year. What we want just to be quite better connected. And of course, what we want, okay, more investments in Croatia, but also we want also to see a Croatian companies also, they also could invest also in China. And there are several also these days also in China. That means nothing is so we are like a small village. But the direct flights, I think it's necessary first of all because also our interest to have your tourists, and Croatia is a touristic-oriented country. There is, of course, potential, as I mentioned, for economic cooperation and collaboration across numerous areas, including trade, transport, digital transformation, investment and business climate, education, and we hope that the level of cooperation will intensify in the future. There are also numerous opportunities for international students to pursue higher education at Croatian universities. Many Croatian universities now offer over 100 English-taught programs across fields such as medicine, engineering, management, and tourism. Croatia is also committed to working closely on climate change, sustainable development, and green transition. So, as we know, there are ambassadors here from the European Union. It's not necessary not to repeat it, how it's very important also now having in mind that financial framework must be realized and established. EU, China. That's good. That I'm here just in the 2 days before the EU summit. Probably it's by accident. So I'm not paving the way here. But of course, why not? I'm also, my country is member of EU, and I am really looking forward to having a good discussion. Probably we have a different approach to some also different topics. However, but we need to speak, and the channel of communication must be open everywhere, not only here. So EU-China, despite, so as I mentioned, different political economic systems, the EU and China have a shared interest in pursuing constructive and stable relations. I believe that maintaining dialogue is still the best way of addressing our differences. In the context of polarized geopolitical environment, this approach can also decrease tensions to a certain extent. China and the EU share a common interest in achieving constructive and stable relations. Cooperation with China in solving global issues remains crucial, particularly in addressing global challenges like climate change and biodiversity, food security, public health, debt restructuring, disaster reduction, and humanitarian assistance. In this regard, so we expect meaningful outcomes of the upcoming EU-China summit on July 24th, marking the, of course, also 50th anniversary of EU-China diplomatic ties. China is the EU's second largest trading partner. It should not have been forgotten, with daily trade exceeding 2 billion euros. Trade exchange between the EU and China remains strong and investment ties deep. We hope to achieve a balanced, reciprocal, and mutually beneficial future relations with reduced trade and investment barriers, avoidance of distortive policies, and rebalanced trade flows in sustainable manner. Instead of conclusion, so that means so I am going to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, friends, as the number of interactions in our increasingly interconnected world dramatically increases, history accelerates too. We have not overcome history, quite the contrary. We produce too much history, and sometimes it feels it's like the wars of Bismarck when it comes to the Western Balkans, to produce too much history. And sometimes it feels the international system is rearranging itself too fast for the institutional network to respond adequately. This is the challenge diplomats need to rise to. All members of the international community, governments and organizations as well as enterprises have a stake and a role to play. By adding all our voices, we could be able to build a more prosperous future for all. Your nation, with its rich Silk Road heritage, and Croatia as a Mediterranean gateway to Europe, share rich histories of exchange and resilience. It is my hope that our dialogue today will strengthen the bonds between our nations. Let us work together to build a future defined by cooperation, mutual respect, and shared prosperity. Thank you very much for your attention.
Excellent, great. So we have heard a very comprehensive, very timely and also very encouraging keynote by Minister Radman from Croatia. So with 20 European country representative and a number of Chinese think tank, ministry, and media colleagues here, so we are really felt encouraged. So we have a brief dialogue. Follow the minister talk. As you said, of course, this year is the marked 50 years of EU-China relations, diplomatic ties, which is half a century has passed. And also you mentioned, of course, Croatia historically has been so, played important role, starting from Marco Polo, even beyond that, the Silk Road, the EU-China. We have no border issues. We've been situated, in different parts of the world, but we have a long history. So Croatia as a position itself with EU and also, as you mentioned, as the Mediterranean and Central Asia, Central Europe, and so how can we further strengthen China-EU relation, given that we are in a very, unilateralism prevail world? So, we hope that we can strengthen the cooperation between China and EU, given this all the dialogue we're having now and with all the participants of our ambassadors here. So Minister, what do you think about the things we could continue to further enhance, improve, and enlarge China-EU relation? Given this, we are at a 50 years anniversary crossroad point. Yeah, perhaps you can just elaborate a bit more. Of course, I know we talked about, we can start to more people-to-people exchanges, more business, more visa relaxation, more visit, but also I think I totally agree with you. Dialogue is absolutely important. No matter what, we need to really maintain high-level dialogue, intense dialogue, and frequent visit. So your presence here in China is a good example. Whether it's coincident or whether it's arranged by something else, but I think this is really important that you have this kickoff visit prior the EU-China summit. So maybe just on that point, you have any further points to add on China and EU further cooperation?
Yes, and you mentioned the dialogue. Of course, dialogue is just natural. But I think so also the readiness to meet and compromise sometimes is necessary. But first of all, so Croatia is now, let's say, relaxed. When we are out of box. We were focused on how to get the full membership in NATO, EU, then enter the Schengen zone and Euro to be deep integrated in the European Union. Now, as I mentioned, so besides the OECD, but it's good that they are among the 8 countries. I can say that we are front runner because of the statistics. So we completed 20, 20 discussions, 20 committees out of 25, and we're expecting to formalize um, our plans by the end of the year, and in February next year, my Prime Minister and Secretary General is going to, and they are going to sign this agreement above. But of course, all the countries of OECD should ratify it on this document. And by the end of June, we hope to be a member of OECD. But then also what remains that our activities and towards the countries like Central Asia, the countries I visited for the first time in December last year. I started with Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and after that Kazakhstan as well. But China is, and of course, China is second economy of the world. That's sharing with the European Union. It's second or third, however, but it's a very important partner, and we should consider China as it is not by accident that so that EU summit with held on 24th of July. It's a reality. It's the fact, and we should to work together. But of course, what oblige us, I mentioned dialogue, but dialogue understands or means so the mutual respect. That means that every if you meet just in a compromise, that means so that you also want you got what you wanted, and also the other side there is in a win-win position. That means win-win position. Understand that every side is satisfied with this what has been done when it comes to the cooperation. Cooperation, understand that every side respect also the rules, but the rules there's only the way how we can work with. And but rules in general, if we see the situation in Ukraine, and so there is also the breaking of the international law and Charter of UN. And so that means there's with China, EU-China, there's a huge potential when it comes to the economy. Economy is something that makes a meaningful approach. And so I see that also Croatia bilaterally, as I mentioned, we have quite a lot Chinese company in Croatia. The competition, fair competition, but also we want to see also Croatian companies as well in China.
Great, Minister. Absolutely, I think that you outlined the potential, and of course the economic, of course, also in this multipolar world or multilateralism facing challenges. I think personally, of course, China and the EU has absolutely necessity to conduct more dialogue. So we complimentary on your leading example on that. Of course, Croatia is a good example of how EU, a successful country. You're Schengen. You're going to be OECD, but also you're Eurozone. I was impressed when I was there in your beautiful country. But I think China, EU now we're having this summit, so important. And you mentioned about Ukraine-Russian war there, and I would think. Now, I noticed the Foreign Minister Wang Yi actually said after the BRICS Foreign Minister meeting in end of April, basically he was saying, look, BRICS countries could promote peace, best mediator, peacemaker for the peace. So the U.S. also said, for the Ukraine war there, the U.S. doesn't want to send any troops there. It has to be European troops and non-European troops. So we see if China can be more involved in terms of making peace. So I think that probably can add to EU's more benefit. But also on the same time, you mentioned about compromise and things like that. I see China just a few days ago lifted the sanction for Butikov, one of the parliamentarians in Europe. So things are making progress, but I hope that European leaders come this time can also really put the economic potential. There's so much Chinese company wants to invest in European countries, but we're still seeing sanctions. We're still seeing we're have to revalue the China-EU relation. So that may be putting a lot of spirit, into difficulty. So I really hope that this time we will have a really great China-EU summit, and then we can make the more economic cooperation against this tariff war, trade war that neither EU nor China wants it. So.
But
Yeah.
so I think so. There is quite a big potential in China politics, having in mind your size and, of course, your presence in the world market. And but the more we invest politically and diplomatically and towards peace, so the more we'll be then stable and independent actually, and there is a scope for action for doing more in terms of their achieving their in general peace, because there's unfortunately we live in at critical time.
Yes.
And in challenging times. So there are so many hotspots, starting with Ukraine and then so Middle East, and not to neglect the African, the youngest continent. So that's many. We have to be actively and to present there and to invest even more in peace and to respect multilateralism. You mentioned so the respect. Yes, respect, but so we should be at eye level when it comes the respect. It understand mutual respect. I respect you, and also, of course, I am expecting that you respect me, and it's only on the magic formula of existing this world in this very turbulent time.
Yes, yeah, Minister, absolutely. I was also encouraged to see as 20 some European countries plus Canada and others really condemned what happened in Gaza recently. It was a great initiative. So I think that is also China also support two-state solution for Palestinian problem. So I think China and EU have a lot of common. Maybe we should talk. I would really hope that the narrative of this bilateral summit would be really positive in a way. For example, I had Pascalami in my think tank just a few months ago. We talked about how about China, EU, joint ventures in China, companies in China reinvest back into Europe, and also talk about third countries, African, many other countries. So there's a huge potential because you think about the business and the number of the business entities that we have in both countries, continents are enormous. And that can really benefit Africa, Latin America, many other places. So I really hope that this EU summit can generate some positive narrative rather than we are hearing, there's, as you said, we need a compromise. So I'm sure that we have so many EU country representatives here that they all have the great ideas to how we can make this improve. I have one final question before I open up for audience.
Yes, compromise,
sure.
Just is theoretical, because what is an agreement? Agreement is a result outcome of compromise, for example.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that so compromise, the fragile compromise should be gained. But I think so compromise as a position that start to doing something good, better. And so your potential, for example, having in mind that so the China has its permanent seat in Security Council, and if you see it's quite the UN has a huge responsibility for the peace around the world. And if you see our very fragile but vibrant also immediate neighborhood, Western Balkans, so we need also we know very well how is it, because it's our vicinity, And probably we are not physically the neighbors, however, but by feelings we can just not to understand somewhere. But we have to be more active in
well,
this,
that's
this
what
regard.
we have seen now. You know, China and the EU actually voted together at the UN Security Council, whereas US and Russia voted together one time. So we do have a lot of common language. I mean, also on multilateralism, WTO, WHO, China donated $500 million to WHO, so we could work together with our European friends. So now for this one question is you talk about tourism. You know, Croatia is the best destination, one of the best destinations. Of course, China has relaxed visas to visit European countries to visit China. So is Croatia going to potentially future open visa for the Chinese tourists? You know, because a lot of people wants to go. We even see on the social media was promoting Croatia. Dubrovnik, for example, you can see in the Chinese TikTok on that. But then, you know, it's a so this is for the European EU affairs. But I'm sure the European ambassadors have a
European.
Yeah.
You know that European Union is a heterogeneous organization and composition of 27 countries, and we are obliged, we are supposed to follow the European policy. However, but we are so very much interested, of course, in also Chinese tourists, and it was the reason why yesterday I mentioned to establish a direct flight, and every year there is growing the tourists from China. You know, the country is we are 4 million, but it's so the tourists who are visiting Croatia, they are per year 20 millions. So it's a 4, 5, 5, 4, 5 times. Yeah, that's good that Croatia is so to be not to be selfish, but of course we are very happy that to see a tourist in Croatia. Sometimes we are not in Croatia, we are not aware of really our beauty of the country, and we should go to abroad to get some decent of an impression. And really, I didn't know that so my country is so beautiful as you said. Okay, but when it comes to the Croatia and the European Union, it's Adriatic Sea is not only Croatian, it's an European, it's of us who just lies and protect the biodiversity and for tourists who came and then going back to those countries where they came to Croatia and with good memories. So, and you are then our ambassadors.
But you know, we watch Chinese television, primetime news every day almost. There's how many European tourists has come to China or something. So probably in the future, I don't know if there's one agreement, you know, like if the tourists just go to Croatia and then have a special arrangement, and after visiting they come out, so they don't need they don't need a Schengen visa or something. You know, we could think about that. You know, if a tourist group from China just go to Portugal or Norway or you know. Estonia, Latvia, you know, let's make a special arrangement and go in and out.
Yeah, from Norway, there is a health tourism, you know, it's not only during the summer.
Yeah.
So it's extending towards the 12 months, Croatia is ready to receive tourists.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking of
Slovaks, they are Slovak.
We heard all the complaints that Chinese are having EU visa is so difficult these days. So, but then there's a lot of people wants to go. I mean, so I stop there. We have some people from we have CGTN from so maybe which
the lady.
Okay, CGTN, yes.
Thank you so much, thank you so much, Henry. And this reporter with CGTN. Thank you for your time, Minister. And we have two questions. The first one, may I?
Two questions.
May I?
Yes, of course.
That's so kind of you. So the first one is the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with you on Monday. So how will you comment on the results of this visit to China? And the second one is, of course, China and Croatia continue to deepen cooperation in recent years, especially in trade and economy. And actually, the completion of the Belgian-Zagreb Bridge actually has been a witness of the pragmatic cooperation between the two sides. So how do you see the future prospects of the cooperation between China and Croatia, and even broadly, the cooperation between China and the Central and the Eastern Europe? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this. And so the it's not ordered, this question, but I like this question very much. But I can say that it's really shame that I'm already 6 year minister, that it's my first visit ever to China. And I don't want to make any complaint because of the ambassadors who he wanted me, of course, to come even earlier, but we had a pandemic, Corona, and you know that's also during EU presidency, and we had unfortunately, however, we finished an EU presidency, but so our cooperation and communication, so we were forced to adapt new forms of communication and cooperation. But really, I am so unhappy, and it's really so honestly speaking. The creation also success is also in the honesty, because Croatia never had a hidden agenda in the pocket or something like that. Everything what we wanted just we achieved because of our readiness, because of our dedication. What we wanted, and we achieved it, but we work hard for that what we achieved. But so we can say, if someone could say that Croatia is and could be a success story for the region, okay, we can say good that the hard work does pay off. And when it comes the there is of course also open-ended invitation for your and for my counterpart and Wang Yi, and he promised me to come over to take part at the Dubrovnik Forum once, and for a return visit to Croatia as well. And the second question, of course, and I see a huge potentials between our two countries. So as I mentioned, that also today there are some Croatian companies here. They came not just separately, but however they are here, and so we are about to organize a business forum by the end of the year. My prime minister is going to come here with some other ministers. First of all, the ministers of economy and energy, education. There are so many fields of common interest, and we identified as could be on common interest. So, and we had to then to be more focused in those files. So we are linked to realize a business, and so given our geopolitical position, so we are very happy to be there. We can offer, and we offer to everyone that Croatia could be entry point to the European market, because if you see the Adriatic Sea, and we have the 6 strategic ports. The biggest one, or it's also in 19th century, it was the railway from established from Budapest to Rijeka in 1878. So that at that time Rijeka was an important port, and today there is island Krk, the largest Croatian island, very close to Rijeka. There is LNG terminal with present 3.1 BCM, and it started to be operational as of January 2021. At that time, we knew that, so we have to be dedicated to the energy diversification. At that time, before the Russian aggression against Ukraine, and so because of this situation there, as I mentioned, we want to be independent. Our government decided on to double down its capacity up to 6.1. So and besides this gas terminal, LNG terminal, there is also on island Krk, it's an Adriatic oil pipeline. We can supply the Western Balkans countries, region, our neighbors, Hungary, even in Slovak Republic. I was last year and spoke to my counterpart Jura Blanar. We offer, of course, our oil, and Czech Republic as well, Austria, so to everyone. So Croatia became an energy hub.
Okay. Given the time, we have one more question from China Media Group of CI International, or maybe we'll have well, at the back, the lady. Maybe we'll have a lady. Yeah, okay.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Radman. So my question is, I think lately we have observed that some, European think tanks also observe that the EU strategy towards China is shifting from the so-called de-risking to a more nuanced approach of re-engagement. So what is Croatia's perspective on EU's adjustment of its de-risking strategy towards China? Thank you.
Let's see on 24th of July. But I'm very positive. I am optimistic in this regard, and it is in the interest of the European Union, and of course, and vice versa in China. We see China, of course, and the country with respectful and remarkable, of course, potentials, and not to mention that China is on the second place or third place. It's changeable, of course, second, third. However, it's competition. But so we need the world became a small village, and we should rely on each other. And of course, if you see the future for the next generation, and we should to invest even more politically, diplomatically, and so everything what just could ensure that this world will exist for on.
Great. Okay. So because we're really out of time, so we leave time maybe a little afterwards. But basically, I totally agree with the Minister that because of the importance of the two continents and also the historically we've been collaborating so much. So for the next half a century, we should continue to collaborate, and also because the world need China and EU to work together, and we're as two largest economy, we have all the responsibility to promote, to enhance, to improve, and to dialogue and to compromise. So I really appreciate Minister Radman, coming here to CCG, and also to share with so many distinguished guests, ambassadors, embassy representative, ministry officials, and our media friends. So let's give Minister Radman another round of applause.
Thanks so much, and dear Henry. So I see it's great to be on the wall, but
That's
not
right.
on the great wall. But it's just enough to
You will be there soon.
to meet with my colleagues. I see so my colleagues,
Yes,
and
yes.
it is also former Danish foreign minister.
Yes.
I see Paolo Rangel, my good friend, Tanja Fajon as well. So the many
And
other
also
Hakan
our-
Fidan, he is a good friend of
Australian
mine.
minister, Brazilian minister is all here. We had many of them. So they
Mauro. Mauro.
There was one from former Australian minister and
A
then
Brazilian
also,
is
and
not
also
here.
Brazilian minister.